season, and shockingly, Americans have left more than an average of $1 billion in unclaimed refunds on the table over the past few years. And to add to the confusion, you might be wondering how the Affordable Care Act will affect your tax return. Joining us now with more, with some answers and advice on how to claim what is rightfully yours, is senior tax preparer at H&R Block, Richard Gartland. So great to have you back, Richard.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
So I know a lot of people actually dread tax time, but people are going to start loving it when they realize there's some money that they've been missing out on that they could be claiming. So talk to us about what people are missing out on and some overlooked tax breaks that we're not really paying attention to.
Sure. You know, one group that's leaving money behind seriously are people who are not filing. So we see that the IRS estimates that's about $1 billion. So these are a situation where somebody has had taxes withheld from their paychecks, and maybe they don't have to file because of the threshold, the filing threshold, they're under it. But you know, the IRS won't send you the money unless you ask them for it, and the way to ask them for it is to submit a tax return. So. The other group, other area we're seeing where people are leaving money behind is not taking advantage of credits that are eligible to them, that they're available to them. Probably chief among these is the Earned Income Tax Credit. This is primarily for low and moderate income families. It can be worth up to $6,200 and change, and we estimate that roughly 1 in 5 people who qualify for that credit are not claiming it. So that's a huge amount of money that's left behind. And a third group, I think, of credits, or second group of credits, have to do with education. So chief among those is the American Opportunity Credit. That one is good for the first 4 years of post-secondary education and can put as much as $2,500 a year into your pocket. So it's a very important credit, and it's underutilized.
Wow, okay, some good tax breaks there to know about. Now, the Affordable Care Act, I know there's been a lot of confusion with that as well. How will that affect our tax return?
Well, you know, the Affordable Care Act is law now, has been for several years. Last year was the first year that people were required to report on their tax return whether they had coverage or not, and for people who did not have coverage, they were subject to penalties. So for this year, the penalties that people paid last year have roughly doubled. Give you an example, a family of 4 earning roughly $60,000 in household income is going to look this year at a tax penalty of about $975, and that's scheduled to double again for 2016. So they're going to be facing close to $2,000 in penalties.
Okay.
There is some good news. There are some exemptions available, which people may qualify for. It's a fairly complex field. There's about a dozen of them. So they either need to research that carefully themselves or get some expert advice.
All right, we've got just about 30 seconds left. And when it comes to doing taxes, I used to do mine on my own. I actually go through H&R Block now. I wouldn't dare do them on my own anymore, but there's some mistakes that people make a lot of time. Can you touch on a few of those when it comes to doing your own taxes?
You know, I think the biggest mistakes that people make when they're doing it themselves are sort of 2 areas. One is they're not choosing the right filing status. So they may be single, but they may have a dependent and qualify to be head of household. So it's very important that people choose the proper filing status for their situation. And then the second thing that people are missing out on is not itemizing deductions when they could be. So oftentimes we have about a third of the people do itemize their deductions, but there's about 1 million people who should be that aren't doing it. So
Richard,
those are the 2 biggies.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Great to have you back.
Thanks for having me. You know, for more information, people can come to our website, hrblock.com/payhalf.
A great resource. Thank you so much. And then also you can go to our website as well, fox4morningblend.com.
If I have to tell you no one more time, parents, we've all said it. And up next in today's parenting guide, why having a defiant child may actually be a good thing down the road. Stay with us.